What's going on, guys, ladies and gentlemen? It's Vault Magic again. So I'm just starting up the stream again for you guys. This time we're gonna go through some of the season 4 patch notes for review, and obviously there's other videos I'm sure about at this point about season 4 patch notes and stuff like that. But I'm just here updating you guys. I know I'm late to the party, but I'm doing the best I can. So once I'm all set and done with that, if there's enough viewers who want to ask any questions, any discussion about Ryu, any discussion about Kage, feel free. I'll probably have a good 15 to 20 minute discussion with the viewers here if they arrive, and if not, I'll just post this video, update you guys, and hope everybody has a nice night. So I'm gonna start the stream now. If you like the stream, subscribe. If you didn't like it, don't. All right. So Ryu, season 4. Interesting, very interesting. Interesting indeed. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go through his patch notes one by one. We're gonna read them now, one by one. And then once we read them, I'm actually going to show you guys how this applies in his character, exactly where it goes in his character. So we're going to start off with how this will affect the footsie game, how this will affect his neutral game, certain hit confirms that have changed, certain crush counters that have changed, his overall balance as a character. So basically, probably the three major things that I will focus on is his footsies, how these season 4 patch notes have seen his footsies, how the season 4 patch notes will change his damage as a character, and how the season 4 patch notes will probably affect his tools, his overall tools, or mix-up game, if you would like to call it, as a character. And then just the fourth and lastly will be the overall balance of Ryu and how's it going. So, and with whether I feel or not he's viable or not in season 4. So let's see what we have going on here. Let's get his patch notes popped up here. Okay. Just give me 1 second here. Alrighty, so I have the patch notes here with me now. So let's get this started. Finally. Okay, so Ryu. So what we're looking at here is a good list of changes. Before I get into this, I know a lot of people do this very often, but I'm going to be a little unconventional today. A lot of people just go through the patch notes and they read the patch notes first. I personally like to read the developer's notes first, and I like to see how that applies to what they actually made. So that's how we're going to do it. So, developer's notes on Season 4 for Ryu. Ryu is a standard character with a complete moveset. However, it was difficult to see his character's strength. In order to bring out his characteristics, we've buffed moves such as his Hadouken and crouching medium kick, making it easier for him to control the match at the mid-range. The command for Jodan Sokutogeri was originally determined for ease of use. However, as there were inconveniences such as unintended inputs and certain moves being difficult to use, we've changed the inputs. We've also adjusted the ease of use of his combo parts for his overall performance. So they're stating from the jump that Ryu is a standard character with a complete moveset. So they believe that Ryu is a standard character with a complete moveset. That is true to an extent. But that being said, I believe his moveset is in the lower end of the powerful spectrum in comparison to the rest of the cast. But he does have a complete moveset. However, it was difficult to see his character's strength, they say. So in order to do that, they bring out characteristics such as they buff moves such as Hadouken and crouching medium kick, making it easier for him to control the match at mid-range. So what they're talking about is spacing here. They're talking about that overall, they've updated and buffed Ryu in such a way where he will be more effective at spacing, more effective at neutral, and more effective at footsies. This is what happens in the mid-range. This is what goes down. So we're gonna see if those buffs actually made that happen and made that work for him. So, 1 second here. Alright, so the main 3 things we're gonna focus on once all these we're done going through these patch notes is how this affects Ryu's footsies, how this affects Ryu's damage as a character, and how this affects his options. That's the word I'm looking for. Footsies, damage, and options. Or better yet, let's not just say footsies. Let's do something a little more broader. Neutral game. His neutral game, his damage, and his options. Then at the end, we'll go through his overall viability as a character. Cool. Alright, so let's look at the first patch note here. The first patch note we'll be looking at is standing heavy punch. So it says here, standing heavy punch for V-Trigger 2 can be special move canceled now. So what that means is in the past, we used V-Trigger 2, during his V-Trigger 2, if you were to cancel, or try to special move cancel out of it, while V-Trigger 2 is activated, it wouldn't allow you to do that. Now it does. So, I'm going to show you what that does in a second here. Okay. So let's go to the character select here. And let's look at his V-Trigger 2. All right. So, grid, of course, and then Ryu. Costume's fine. Kako Fubatsu. This is obviously the parry a lot of people are talking about. The Yomi V-trigger that Ryu has. This is probably the most effective V-trigger in terms of playing mind games. So, okay, let's see. So what they're telling me is this used to not be possible. That used to not be possible. Now it is. So that in of itself is impressive. That's good. I mean, it's something that I'm personally a V-Trigger 1 user, and it's personally something I get in V-Trigger 1 all the time. So I may be taking it for granted. But for all you V-Trigger 2 users out there, that might be really, really good for you guys. So that's good there. Let's move on. Standing medium kick. This is a universal patch note, actually. This is actually something that's been going on across the board. It's not universal to every single character, but I believe a lot of the characters in the cast have gotten this buff. So standing medium kick, damage increased from 60 to 70, as we can see now. It's very true. Damage has been increased from 60 to 70, which is good, right? 10 points of damage don't mean much. Might not seem like much, but in close situations in battle, every single point of damage matters. So, without a doubt, I'm sure that will play a factor. Crouching medium kick. Advantage on hit increased from +1 frame to 2 frames. Now, this buff in particular is very interesting. And I'm sure that at face value, it looks like just a frame more of advantage. Might seem like nothing. But a frame more of anything in fighting games, or a frame minus in anything in fighting games, especially Street Fighter, can do a lot of things to the right character. So I'm going to show you guys how that works now. Just by looking at it, I can already tell this is a big deal. So what does this mean? This means that when you use any move, you obviously have startup, active, and recovery frames in that order. So when you use, let me put Kage here to guard. Let's see. Looking at the comment section here. Thank you for your comment, Wallet Bodina. Light kick now combos into light donkey kick, which is fucking amazing. Gets people out of your face. Agreed. I'm going to get more into that later. But yeah, I definitely know about that. That's definitely an amazing buff for him. Very excited about that. So, let's see. Advantage on hit increased from 1 frame to 2 frame, right? So you can see here that it's not showing it right. But instead of it being, because this is 2 frames faster, this allows room for more inputs. So what does that mean? The best way I can describe it would be this. Certain moves, right? Because this now has, because this now has 2 frames of advantage, right? This now has 2 frames of advantage on hit, not on block, right? 2 frames of advantage on hit, increase from +1 to +2. As you can see right there in the top left, +2. That's what we want to be looking at. This makes this a more effective tool. You might be asking, how so? Okay. Because it is now +2, that means that every single move that you will follow up after with this medium kick, mind you, we all know that Ryu users should know that Ryu's medium kick is one of the best moves that he has in his arsenal. Every move that comes after this medium kick will now come out a frame faster. You can't just look at this medium kick and just say, oh, he's +2 only on the medium kick. Well, it might seem like that at face value, but overall, right? This affects every single move that comes after it. So we have this follow-up, right? We have a medium kick, fireball, right? Classic, you know, standard follow-up with Ryu, right? You have moves like medium kick, fireball, medium kick, Tatsu, all of those things will play a factor, right? This doesn't connect naturally, but on counter hit, oops. That's not what I meant. This is what I meant. This string here of medium punch into medium kick will be a lot more easier to do now because of this. Every single move off of medium kick will be easier to do now off of this, including this move here. Medium kick into medium donkey kick. This is probably the big part of that whole plus frame thing. The biggest part. This was not possible in season 3 Ryu. For the first time, this is now possible. Now, what does this do? Right? This is Ryu's donkey kick. So this is effective, really effective and really important. Why? Because donkey kick does not just affect people while they're standing. They affect people while they're crouching as well. See? So this hits crouchers for sure. This definitely hits crouchers. That's a big plus. That's a big good thing for Ryu, right? He doesn't have to necessarily worry about, you know, hit confirming is already hard as is. You know, hit confirming on reaction, you know, based on, you know, colors of hit, yellow or blue, you know, sound, all these things come into play when you're hit confirming. But now with this, all you really have to focus on is whether it hits, you know, sometimes you even have to focus on top of all those things, whether the opponent is standing or crouching, right? Depending on what move you're doing for the hit confirm. So that reduces it, and now really all you have to focus on is on the hit itself when you're doing a hit confirm from medium kick into medium donkey kick. This allows you to hit confirm and focus more easily instead of focusing on whether the opponent is crouching or standing. All you have to focus on is whether it hits or not. If it hits, keep on doing it. You know, keep the buffer going. If it doesn't hit, stand back. And that's good because it gives Ryu a lot more mobility. So that's some interesting things for the medium kick buff. Also, what's good about it is it makes this right here, Ryu's fireball game from medium kick from about max range, a lot more effective. How so? I'll show you. So opponents, right, in past seasons of Street Fighter 5, they used to be able, from max range, Ryu being max range here, about here, right? They used to be able to jump the fireball from the guarding position. If they guard this from this range, they used to be able to block the medium kick, obviously. And because the plus frames, obviously, as I go later on and more into the stream, you'll see that the Hadouken speed have changed as well. But the plus frames on the medium kick allow the Hadouken to have more time to come out. Like, they really won't be able to move once this medium kick is thrown out. It locks the opponent in, and they're going to have to take whatever hits that's coming in next because they already had to commit to guard. So those are all great things for the medium kick. So universally, as you can see, this medium kick is good all around. So that's that patch note. Crouching heavy kick. V gauge meter gain from a crush counter increased from 100 to 120. So this is something else that you're seeing. I'm not going to go too much into this, but this is something else that you're seeing universally as well with other characters. V gauges, they're being either, you know, some characters are getting less V gauge on certain moves. Certain characters are getting more V gauge on certain moves. The reason why they're doing this is because it's interesting, because they're trying to stop people from throwing crush counters to get simply combos. And now you have an option, right? So what that means is a lot of people, especially a lot of Ryu players, if they had a preference of throwing, you know, let's say Kage whiffs a Shoryuken, for example, right? Something like this, right? Simple. A lot of people will just simply go for that. No question, right? They wouldn't even think about it. Just this, right, into this, or something like that, into this, right? All of these things, right? But it would always start with crouching heavy kick, or standing heavy kick, sorry. Standing heavy kick, that's how it would start, right? The reason for that is because they had nothing else to worry about but damage. But now, they changed that. Now, they're actually saying, well, tell you what, you could still do that and get damage, but if you decide to opt out and you're low on meter and you decide to go for a crouching heavy kick instead, now you're gonna get V gauge. They're trying to stop and put a how do I say, slow down the emphasis on crush counter combos and that being the only thing, you know, crush counters are good for. Which is just straight combos. They want to let you know that crush counters are good for V gauge now as well, and you might not have to go for combos strictly as much. A little bit more emphasis on Street Fighter 4 flow. You know, they're moving away from, you know, Street Fighter 5 crush counters and a little bit more of Street Fighter flow where crush counters didn't exist, and if you get a sweep, you know, it knocks the opponent to the floor. And they're just kind of rewarding you for choosing that option. So that's the interesting part about that. Moving on from that, Hadouken. So this is interesting. Probably one of the most interesting buffs that he got. Decrease the overall movement frames from 47 frames to 45 frames. Note, no change to the advantage/disadvantage on hit/block. Increased the pushback on block. So those are the two things that they did to Hadouken, right? They decreased the overall movement from 47 frames to 45 frames, and they increased the pushback on block. These are all good things. All good things. What that allows us to do is that basically makes the ease of use of this, like I was saying earlier, a lot better. This will probably connect from farther ranges than it ever has before, simply for the fact that the frames on both moves are faster, therefore making it easier. Like, I'm pretty sure there's been moments where you as a Ryu player would be, you know, dancing in and out of your opponent's, you know, your medium kick range, and you would do like a max fireball, and obviously like that you didn't see there, like it didn't combo, right? But it was even worse before. Like, even if you were this is max range medium kick. So even, so you saw that there, max range medium kick on the first frame, from my experience, it connects. So let's see, that's not max. That one more step. That should be about max, right? Right there, that should be the max medium kick range. And as you see on the first frame of the Hadouken, if I do it right, it will connect. That was not possible before. Now it is, because both things are faster. The overall use of medium kick and the overall use of Hadouken and this poke in general, because of these buffs, are going to be more effective. So that's very good for spacing, and that's very good for mid-range. Let's see. Increase the pushback on block. Also very good. All very good stuff. So, as you can see now, Kage, he's in this square here. If I throw a fireball here, from about this square, oops. From about that square, he moves about half a square, little bit more than that, away from me after I throw a fireball, right? So that's good pushback. It's not bad at all. Yeah, it's a very good thing. It pushes the opponent more to the corner. Not only do they obviously take some chip damage when they take a block of Hadouken, but now They also get pushed farther into the corner, which can lead to more, corner setups and Yomi and pressure and reasons for them to jump. So you can shore you and play mind games, maybe bait out a couple jump ins, things like that. That's all very good, effective stuff. So, moving on from that. Heavy Hadouken. Increase the projectile speed. True. Very true. So, I'm sure in my past stream or my past video, I said something about the projectile speed being slightly faster. I felt like, and then I kind of got confused, and I was like, I don't know if it is faster. Yeah, it's faster. It's definitely faster. That's very effective, and that's very good. That puts Ryu in a position that he needs to be in. Ryu as a character needs to be a character that, he doesn't have the greatest answer to every option or the greatest answer to every character in the game. But he does have an answer, and he does have an option. What that means, what that allows the user of Ryu to do, is it gives them the ability to maximize those options and use them in the best manner. They may not be the best tools in the game, but it is a tool, and he does have an answer for every single character, right? He is a complete character. But what makes Ryu special, what makes Ryu amazing, is depending on the user of him, you will maximize these moves, and you will turn them into something that makes him his moves that may seem average into the average person is all average, but to the advanced Ryu player, they know that these moves can be some of the best moves in the game if put in the right hands. Ryu is a jack of all trades, but he's not the greatest jack of all trades unless you know how to use all of his moves to their greatest potential. So that's why I love Ryu. But again, so they increased the Hadouken projectile speed. They're giving him his zoning back, right? Not the greatest zoning in the game in comparison to Guile and things like that, but he does have zoning back. As far as him competing with Guile, we'll see. It's a little bit too early to tell, but we will definitely see. EX Tatsumaki Senpukyaku slightly decreased the blowback distance on hit. I know I was confused on this when I first started reading about it. I was like, what does that even mean, right? But when I started playing, I started realizing what it means is this. Oops. Let me change that. This move here on quick rise, you should be +2 if you do something like this, right? If you double dash off of after an EX Tatsumaki on the first frame, you should be +2. You should still be plus. So what that reason why that's possible is because the blowback distance. The blowback distance is literally the distance that the opponent is pushed back after an EX Tatsumaki Senpukyaku. That distance has been changed. It's shorter. The reason why it's shorter is because it gives you more tools afterwards. So now instead of EX Tatsumaki Senpukyaku just being a tool where you use to get the opponent in the corner or get the opponent off you, now you can actually use it as a Yomi tool and as a Yomi setup. A tool to play with the meta with your opponent. After this, they don't just have to worry about, being closer to the corner, but now they have to worry about the setup that you can follow up with, right? Setups are now actually possible off of this move, which is good. Not a lot of setups, but setups are possible. So that's good. That's all good. It's all good for his offense. Increase the blowback time for grounded hit. So that in of itself just talks about the grounded hit and increases the time that the blowback is. That's all it is. Light Jodan Sokotogari, also known as light donkey kick. They reduced the startup of this from 16 to 10 frames, restricted the air combo count. That is very important because that allows you to do this, That was not possible before. Oops. Now it is. So, what does that mean? More in depth. What that means is that instead of Ryu classically going for something like this, you can now go for something like this. Right? Now you might say, well, Magic, you know, Ryu's over here, and you know, if I'm a Ryu player, I'm gonna jump in and, you know, use this move because it, you know, it does more damages and it pushes them, you know, more into the corner, and it is what it is, right? Well, that may seem like the right thing to do at face value, but trust me when I tell you that there will be situations where this string, oops, this string is more preferable than the Shoryuken ending string. There will be situations where that will be the case. The reason I say that is because, you know, the Shoryuken being a good move for more damage, it obviously pushes them more in the corner. This gives you more options in a way. And the reason I say that is because the follow-up that you can get after the end of the move will be better. If I try to, let's set Kage to, let's record some wake up options here. Let's have Kage do a reversal jab on wake up. Right. What does this do? Let's set him to quick rise, like a real match. Recovery, normal recovery. Counter hit, right? Now, with this setup. My bad. Meaty. All of a sudden, you go from a setup that is counter hit to meaty. Overall, leading to higher damage, right? This is where I start getting into some real deep calculations and risk-reward stuff with Ryu's offense. How do you say? I will show you. So, Ryu's light kick, Shoryuken ender. Is he quick rising? Yeah. Being counter hit like that, right? Total damage being about 182, or total damage being 182 down to Kage, right? That is 182 damage flat with no follow-up. More initial damage, but with no follow-up. This allows you to get maybe a little bit less initial damage, but a higher follow-up, maybe a whole higher overall damage in general. So if you do something like, you have 206 damage plus, oops, 140. 206 plus 140 is 346 damage in comparison to the 182 that we were looking at. So, you know, this is all just food for thought, right? I'm not saying that this is completely useless now. I'm still going to use this, and I'm going to use it often. But just realize that there's going to be situations where you're going to want to use donkey kick as well. It's not useless. There will be situations for it. Everything has a time and a place. So, moving on from that. Medium, donkey kick. Reduce the startup frames from 18 to 16 frames. That's all very good. It allows you to do this now. That's a very good hit confirm for crouching and standing opponents. Ryu is no longer limited to simply punishing opponent when he's crouching or when he's standing. He has moves now where he can universally punish them regardless of their stance, which is all good for offense. It's all good stuff. And heavy donkey kick, reduced to start up from 20 frames to 18 frames. I still don't think, yeah, that's not possible. But as far as the uses for heavy donkey kick, I haven't explored anything out of the, like, because it is heavy, right? The startup and active and recovery frames on heavy normals are already large to begin with, but this allows, as far as the heavy donkey kick buff, I'm not sure what it will give you that Season 3 didn't already have on the table. Not yet. I could be wrong. I still have more exploration to do myself, but from what I know right now about Season 4 Ryu, that's all I know about that. EX Jodan Sokutogari, EX Donkey Kick, increase the attack movement distance. So what that basically means is this whole movement right here that Ryu does up to the forwards to the kick, it's been buffed. So he now moves deeper into the stage when he does his kick, meaning more corner pushback for the opponent, and more situations where you'll probably be seeing this as a poke, you know, because you can use it at a pretty far distance now. So that's for the EX Donkey Kick. The input command from the EX Donkey Kick, which is probably why I'm struggling with it today, has been changed. There's no longer quarter circle forward kick or no longer quarter circle forward kick. It's now been changed to half circle forward kick. So no more of this. The reason for that is because there'd be situations where people were trying to throw out a fireball and this would come out. Or you gotta get used to it. Half circle quarter forward. So this would come out. So that's been changed. Just for the sake of, you know, cleanliness and the sake of actually getting what you want when you want it while using Ryu. Moving on. Input command for the EX version changed from quarter circle forward to half circle forward. Same thing with the EX and normals moves of Donkey Kick. Both inputs have been changed. EX Shoryuken normal / V trigger 1. Increase the damage taken for an attack that hits during the move's duration by 1.2 times. So, that is probably one of the only nerfs that Ryu got in this season. Slightly bit more damage now while using the EX Shoryuken. If you whiff an EX Shoryuken, you're gonna get punished more. You're gonna get punished a little harder. The damage will be a little bit better, and the damage scaling will be different if you whiff it. But that's nothing out of this world. The V-Trigger 1 Dejinreki can now be hit by an attack during the screen freeze upon V-Trigger activation. So, as far as V-Trigger 1 goes, certain things have been changed. And I'll get into that in just a second. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. Just had a quick water break. So, back into the V-Trigger 1. So what does that mean? Let me show you.
The grid. Ryu. Kage.
So the patch note once again says V-Trigger 1 dungeon ranking can now be hit by an attack during the screen freeze upon V-Trigger activation. So there used to be some invincibility here at this point when you use V-Trigger 1. There was some type of invincibility where the opponent could do things and, you know, obviously, you know, he would try to, you know, hit you with a jab or hit you with whatever, and there would be a certain time where there was an invincibility for it. That has been changed. You can now get punished during this free section. Basically what that means is just be more wary of how you activate and pop V-Trigger. You know, obviously, you know, use it when, you know, you have an advantage. Use it in certain scenarios where you can't be punished for it. So don't walk up to the opponent and just look at them and pop V-Trigger. You can get punished for that now. Instead, you know, do things like a classic one with Ryu is pardon, something like this, right? You're plus on frames here now. So you know, once you cancel that heavy kick into that V-Trigger, you'll be plus and the opponent can't punish you. You know, things like that. Things like that is what you want to do. Just don't be careless with your V-Triggers, what they're trying to emphasize. Slight nerf, but nothing out of this world. V-Trigger to Ishin. Recovery reduced from 40 frames to 36 frames. So let's get back to character select screen and let me show you what's going on with that. Almost done here, ladies and gentlemen. We are on the final 3 notes here. And after this, I'll talk about very quickly how this affects his neutral, his damage, and how it affects his options. And after that, I'll get into his overall viability, where I think he stands right now, and that'll be that. So, V-Trigger to Ishin, right? Ishin. Ishin, I'm pretty sure, no, yeah, I'm sure they're talking about this. So, this Ishin, this V-Trigger activation that Ryu has, this is the Kako Fubatsu, right? But this, I believe it's this V-Trigger to Ishin, because this attack recovery can be cancelled into Shoryuken. If Ryu successfully parries an attack, yeah, so Ishin is just another name for this, what I'm doing right now. So this used to not be possible. I'll show you what I mean right now. Sorry about that. I just got a little mixed up here since I'm not a avid V-Trigger 2 user. But so let's have Kage do something like this. Better yet. That used to not be possible. Now it is. That's what I'm getting from this patch note. Could be wrong, but that's exactly what I'm getting. I believe that's what it is. If I'm wrong, please put it down in the comment section. But I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So, the recovery reduced from the overall Ishin is 40 frames to 30 frames. So that means that this will be slightly less punishable. That's good. That's all overall good. It'll still be greatly punishable. 36 frames is a lot of time, but slightly less punishable, so that's all good as well. It's a good buff. And then we have note 3 here for V-Trigger 2 Ishin. If Ryu successfully parries an attack but his counterattack misses, he can cancel the recovery into Mind's Eye or Ishin. So what that means is... Wow. Yeah, what that means is that if Ryu, during this, misses a parry, he can switch from parry into Mind's Eye, or from Ishin into Mind's Eye. Mind's Eye being the regular parry, and Ishin being the V-Trigger punish parry. So let's see exactly how that works. Let's do something that will show off this power, this buff here. So let's say something like this, right? We do, right? Let's say, oh, there it goes. Okay. So if Ryu misses a parry off of, let's do this better. Let's do it this way. That's not what I wanted. I'll just do this. Let's get it from the first frame. That'll do. So if Kage wakes up with a medium punch, right? Oh, it's still not set up, huh? That's weird. There we go. Okay. So if Kage wakes up with a medium punch reversal, right? And this whiffs, you should be able to go into another move. So, for example, we're gonna start with a parry. It's gonna whiff, and we're gonna go into Mind's Eye. That is what they're saying that was not possible in Season 3. So let's say something like Oops, that's my fault right there. That's my timing fault. Restart. Be a little faster. A little faster. A little faster. Gotta space that better. Gotta be closer. I'm doing it wrong. So this, we switch into this. Yeah, so for the sake of the stream length, I'm not gonna continue it. I'm gonna post a video later on tonight explaining exactly what I mean. But that whole thing about Ishin being canceled from Ishin into Mind's Eye, there's certain setups that it's useful in, and there's certain setups that it's not useful in. I just don't know the setups that it's useful for yet. But I'm gonna post a clip later on tonight, probably a couple of minutes after this stream is posted, and I'm gonna show you guys the setup that I'm talking about that this is effective for. But besides that, moving on from the whole Ishin and Mind's Eye cancel. It says when canceled into from recovery, the parry startup will be 1 frame. When canceled into from recovery, the parry startup will be 1 frame. That's a slight nerf, but nothing out of this world. So again, besides the V-Trigger 2 buffs and nerfs that I'm freaking horrible at explaining because I don't use this V-Trigger 2 like that. But besides that, getting into the conclusion of this whole video now. Ryu's neutral game, damage, and options. What do I think? So his neutral game, right? This obviously involves the buffs they did to medium kick, things of that nature. You know, the whole change of this poke that used to not be possible. All of those things. His neutral game has been improved for sure. I would definitely say overall his neutral game has been improved. Has it been improved massively? No, I don't think massively is the word to describe the change, but I think very good is the word I would like to say for his neutral game. I think his neutral game has been changed, and it has been changed very well. Very, very well. I still think they didn't do exactly everything that I wanted to do. If they would just have increased the medium kick distance as well, I would probably say his neutral game would have been massively improved. But besides that, his neutral game has been great, very improved very well. His damage, if you just think about initial damage of certain moves, then it's pretty much the same, right? But as I was explaining earlier, if you think about, you know, the setups that are now possible, right, off of certain moves, based off of, you know, the Yomi and the spacings that you can have with blowback distance, all of these things will give you more damage at the end of the day. So all of these things are all good for Ryu. They do give him some more damage. Options. Overall, Ryu as an option character. Does he get more options? This right here is an option that's new. This right here is also an option that's new. those poke options, I'm sure, will be viable and will be used. This string, this combo string, is an option that will be viable and will be used now. You know, so that in of itself does give Ryu slightly more options. The damage has, you know, been improved or the same based on how you look at it, but as far as options go, they have been not massively improved, I would say, but slightly improved. Yes. Overall viability for Ryu, in my current opinion, with his current moveset, I can see Ryu being a solid mid-tier character. That is my opinion after about 24 hours of using him after the Season 4 patch notes. That's my opinion. It may change, you know, depending on a week from now to 2 weeks from now. But at his current state, after 24 hours, I see him at a solid mid-tier. If it does change, I'll definitely post a video and update you guys on how I feel. For better or for worse. But at his current state, right now, I feel like Ryu is not high tier, not low tier, but a solid mid tier now, which is, to be quite frank, where all characters in this game should be. I don't believe low tier should even be a bracket. But seeing Ryu being mid tier for the first time is very good, very good, very good, very good, and very heartwarming to see. Let's see here. So that's my opinions on Season 4 Ryu for right now. And if anything pops up, I'll let you guys know. But that's my opinion on how I feel about Season 4 Ryu right now. Let's see here. So, not that many people on stream, not that many questions asked. So I'm gonna end the stream here. I'm gonna post more about Ryu and that one Mind's Eye and Ishin setup later on, for sure. And but yeah, that's my current thoughts on Ryu for Season 4. Any questions or any updates? Anything anybody thought I was wrong on? Please comment down below. And yeah, that's my whole summary about this whole thing. Yeah, that's about it. If you like the video, subscribe. If you don't. And that's about it. Thanks for tuning in.